I, you know, I think it relates to, there's a lot to do, and I view the next 20 years, hopefully, my health permits it. And as my wife was yelling at me yesterday, because I need my other hip replaced. So I had my hip replaced 4 or 5 years ago, and they said, this other one looks pretty bad too. You're going to have to do it. And finally, the last few months, it's been honestly excruciating. In the last several weeks have been beyond what a person should have to do. And so actually yesterday I went to the specialist and he said, how have you been walking around with this thing? So I got to take care of myself, that and a variety of other things. So all of you take care of yourself because that's the most important thing. John Maxwell talks a lot about that you can't have the impact you want to have if you're in bed. So definitely take care of yourself and be aware. Where somebody that I know passed away this week, and it
Oh,
was and probably because I only got about 5 hours of sleep last night. I've expanded my sleep time to 7 hours, and so I don't remember who it was, but it hit me not only because it was an acquaintance more than a friend. It was just like, wow, really? And it was like you're going along, and then suddenly, it's
yes.
over. So you have to be careful. As
Yeah.
we all know, we all have had people pass away in our lives that we didn't expect, and that's frightening. Even my grandfather, who was at the time 87, when he passed away that night, it was I ended up driving from Delaware to New Jersey, a couple hour drive, and it was like, how could he die? He was 87 years old. I had no concept that could even happen, but it does happen, even especially for 87-year-old people, and it happens for younger people, as we all know. Thank you all
What
for
is
joining.
your ailment that you're,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
What did you say you're getting checked out for?
Oh, it's a hip replacement. That's all. It's
Oh,
nothing serious. It's just a normal hip replacement. I had the one hip done about 4 years ago, and now I just need the other one done. So easy stuff. Um, Thank you all for joining. This is the Global Chamber Phoenix meetup, and there are a number of different things that we wanted to cover today. I want to say initially, while I look for what our agenda is, that something big is happening. And that's the article that I was mentioning earlier before we started recording. That's the name of the article that blew up the internet about a week ago. I don't remember the fellow's name, and I'll ask this group as well. We were in the Global Chamber Texas meetup just a few minutes ago, and I know Bernd didn't read it because he did not volunteer that he did. But has anyone here read? I bet you Tim Randall has. Have you read Something Big is Happening? Are you there?
Are you,
Oh, how about Barry Berman?
well, Doug, are you talking about today with the Supreme Court and tariffs? That's not what you're talking about. That
That's pretty big too. But no, I was talking about the article Something Big is Happening.
hmm,
Uh, that's about AI.
hmm.
Seriously? This is 2 meetings in a row. I've been talking to crickets. I can't believe it. I,
Well, I
Yeah,
know that
that's
I know
not
that
true.
I know Elon Musk is planning to put data systems in space, and he's not going to Mars. He's going to the moon first. Things like that showed up this past week or two.
okay, and actually that's a great example of what's happening in our world today, right? Everything is changing. And so this article, I only found out about it like a day or two after it published because apparently it blew up X and it blew up social media. And then I noticed it was in LinkedIn and I posted it in the Global Chamber company page and also in the group page. But it's got like tens of millions of views and X. And so when I read it, basically the story is that it's an AI company leader, like the president of the company. And it resonated with me, and I'll explain what he said, because the last several months we've been developing Globy, and Globy is an AI tool that Global Chamber already uses, and our developer in the Philippines progressively, week after week, has been saying, wow, AI is like changing. And so a couple weeks ago, maybe 2, 3 weeks ago, he said, you won't believe this latest download. And he was going through, it's like, you don't even need to do programming anymore. It's just like you just tell it what to do and everything changes. So he's already been telling us that, like from a developer standpoint, that it's exponential. It's sort of like Moore's law accelerating. It's all happening. So when I heard about this article, I had to read it. So I read it, and it was basically, hey, here I am in San Francisco in the tech industry. It's already here, and you don't know about it. It's like the COVID story, but it accelerated by 10,000. That when COVID was developing, we didn't know until like kind of it finally hit us, and then we kind of really didn't process it. That's already happened with AI, and that was his story. So as I
Mm.
mentioned to the Texas group, I sent it to my son-in-law, who is one of the smarter people that I know. Barry and my son-in-law are, two of the smartest people, and so I should have sent it to you, Barry, but I sent it to my son-in-law first and said, "Well, what do you think of this? Should what should I think about it?" He said, "It's true. It's all changed." That you can quibble with the article about kind of it said it's a little bit on the slow side because he's on the fast side of life. But fundamentally, tomorrow I'm having everybody in my company signed up for Claude, and so that's the what I want to maybe start with, because the purpose of today was mainly a few things. One was to talk like a recap of the semiconductor summit. The semiconductor industry is changing because of AI. Everything is changing. For those of us that have been involved with the semiconductor industry, it used to be very cyclical and very like, boom and bust and happy, sad. Today it's done. It's finished. It's in a great space, and it'll never, for the foreseeable future, never change. Data centers, the management of data, the development of faster and faster semiconductors, smaller and smaller. Uh, we're there. And so here's in the semiconductor summit, I mentioned that there were 5 or 6 things that are big right now. Number one, AI is driving nearly everything on the planet. Number two, because of that, semiconductors, it's changing everything about industry, and an interdependent industry that used to be like the automotive industry or aerospace. Semiconductors now is totally global, and countries like Kenya are involved with the semiconductor industry. There are dozens now of countries that are looking to get foreign direct investment relative to semiconductor industry. And then Arizona, as Mike Patterson says, we're the belly button of the semiconductor industry, which basically means the center of the world in many ways because of TSMC and the inclusion of the plant now and the building of the plant. The largest foreign direct investment in U.S. history is happening in Arizona right now in the most important industry. So right at the center of everything. And then I think that was 3 things that I said were big. Number 4, I think I mentioned women, because there were several women speaking in a row. And I do believe that women are changing the world in a better way and are our savior. When I get depressed by watching the news about weird stuff, I hope and expect that eventually women will save us. But I'm not sitting on the sidelines trying to just let that happen. I think we all need to be involved in it, but I do think women will. I also think being global and thinking global will also save us, because at the end of the day, the more provincial we are, the smaller we think, the smaller we'll be, and the bigger we think, the bigger and better we'll be. And I think I'm not too worried about that, because as Kofi Annan said, arguing against globalization is like arguing against the laws of gravity. You can't argue it. it's just going to happen. And so it's driving forward, sort of like the Supreme Court decision today, you know, kind
And
of like you try to do stuff, mess around, and you're not gonna be successful. And so the U.S. is in kind of dire straits. And as an American, still, I feel sad for America because I feel like there's a lot good going on and some really bad stuff going on, and hopefully we work through that. And
hey,
I'm,
Doug, one article that came out was Sea Dance, with robots, that Hollywood is very upset about. You heard about
yeah,
that?
that's another thing, right? Is like, wasn't it two actors they put together? I didn't see the
Oh,
video.
that
Did you
one
see that one?
too. Then there's also the China thing where they had all these robots dancing way past what Elon's doing, apparently, uh, where they can do anything. So yeah, the whole Hollywood thing is an infringement on copyright law. So I
So
don't.
we got a lot
Got a
of
lot going on here, gang.
yeah. So let's kick off. And is there anybody? I see Alma's in the room, and is I don't see Marcos in the room, but Alma and Marcos Garcia Acosta and Alma Fuentes put together a 7-page report on the semiconductor industry. If you haven't read Chip Wars, by the way, that's one of my Libby books. Read read
Yeah,
Chip Wars. It's the best
yeah.
global book you'll ever read
A
because
good
it's
foundation.
what's that?
It's a really good foundation.
It's not only a great foundation for the semiconductor industry, but I think it's such a beautiful global story. It's
Yeah.
how here are these guys in San Francisco building an industry, and they say, oh, let's get women to be the manufacturers because they have small hands because we want to make small products. And then, oh, why don't we make it cheaper with women in Asia? And then suddenly we've got this big global business that ends up happening, and the technology shifts, and Intel coming and going and coming and going, and all of that. Oh my God, what a soap opera, right? What did you take away from that, Susan? The chip.
Oh, the exponential power of the change. I I had a chance to visit Anthropic, and I've been using Claude, who I heard you just recommend. And Claude, they purport is uh, the most comprehensively correct compared to the other AI chats.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting side effects is is um, is I'm sorry, my phone is the fact that uh, this now enables researchers, as an example, to explore things that are long shots that
Yeah.
they weren't able to research before because they had to allocate their time very carefully. And now they can go after these long shots, which very often are the answers to the problems they're trying to solve. There are just so many side effects and so many implications. It's fascinating. It's pretty overwhelming.
It's endless. Totally, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I suggest is maybe if Alma, if you're open to maybe sharing a little bit about the Semiconductor Summit in your 7-page report, I'll be quiet. I've already spoken too much. I'm sorry, I got too excited. And then if we can, Caitlin, if you could hang on, another big story going on right now, obviously, is the Supreme Court decision and what happens next. And Caitlin with will be able, because she knows that industry, will be able to help us. Alma, are you available oh, you are available.
Sure. Yeah.
How are you? What did you think of the Semiconductor Summit? What are some of the takeaways that you had, and what should we be thinking about it?
I thought it was a great event. Great people to meet, and then people that had great information for us. All those maps, the comparison they showed was pretty interesting, and just how the semiconductor industry and every other industry, just how it's growing and going to China. And so, I had a meeting with Necodex yesterday, and we were talking about that, and it was a pretty interesting, a really good meeting, I think. The document that we put together, it was a little bit about the history and how it got to Arizona, and then what's going on now, and then the future, how other countries are thinking about Arizona. And so I am excited because I have a close connection to and a little bit of experience with the semiconductor industry. And so for me, I'm happy about it. But it was really good to meet a lot of people. And I think the only unfortunate part is that people by the end are tired. And a lot of people didn't stay for the last one, which was for real estate. But people have other interests and have other things to do. But overall, I think it was a great event.
Yep. There's the one picture. I think that's when it kicked off up over a Thunderbird. Was anybody else there? I don't think anybody here was there. Oh, Dave was there.
I
Hey,
was
Dave,
there.
how are you?
Hello.
What did you think? Did you make some good connections? Did you learn some things?
I got to sit next to Alma and meet her. um, yeah. I sat next to Rodolfo at Nicodex, and he's like, "What do you do? Commercial insurance." He's like, "Oh, I actually have to get that in place." So I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I just emailed him. But I I
That's good.
found I can't put my finger on it, and then I was one of those that had to leave early. I apologize. I had evening plans with the wife, but I found the information the most easy to understand and interesting. I mean, I really was one of the most engaging global chamber events I've been to so far, and they're all good. So not like saying there's been duds, but so no, I thought it was phenomenal. Like the pace of it, uh, um, and I just regret having to scoot out early.
I
Cool.
thought it was very organized. Doug,
Yes.
you did a great job. It was super organized. Everybody was on time. They all explained what they had to say. And I liked the breaks for networking that we had at the beginning and middle at the end. And so, yeah, I liked it.
We stayed on time because there were at least three things that we eliminated
Oh.
during it. One of them, by the way, and I have to figure out how to do this, that you should all listen to is Matt Salmon was going to be in DC, so he couldn't be in the room. So I interviewed him the week before about China, Taiwan, and the semiconductor industry, and what should we be thinking about. And I was thinking about what he spoke about because he lived in Taiwan. He was the only Mandarin speaking U.S. representative when he was in the House 5 terms. Really smart fellow. And just kind of the short snippet is there's not going to be a war. I've heard actually people talking this through, and somebody said something, and I think even in a global chamber meeting, and I didn't say anything, but it was actually now I know who it was. It was somewhat flippantly said, like, "What happens if?" But what Matt believes is that's not going to happen. So I'll save the rest of it for something else non-optimal will happen, but I'll save the rest once we figure out how to get this out to you. Actually, it's on our YouTube channel. If you go to the Global Chamber YouTube channel, it's on the top left. At the top, you can see that. It's only a 16-minute interview, but I think it's definitely worth listening to, and then we'll roll it out in the next few days to the rest of Global Chamber. Tim Randall is big. Tim Randall is there, and I see you have your big hand up, and with his Arizona Diamondbacks hat.
Well, it's open, Doug. It's opening day of spring training, so I mean, you gotta.
I didn't
We
know
should all
that.
be. We
Look
should
at
all
that.
be at the game. Yeah,
The
the
Yankees have
Rocket.
been the
Yeah,
Yankees have been practicing for the last. Oh no, but the first game is today. I see what you're
yeah,
saying. Are you
yeah.
going
I
out to
got the
Salt
book.
River Fields, or what do you got planned?
I not today, but I'm listening to it. But after this, the Yankees are on right now. Again, anyway, So I was not able to attend the fifth annual semiconductor conference. I wish I was traveling and so forth. But one of the things that I wanted to bring to the group's attention is last week ASU had a big data center event, and it was last Wednesday, and various speakers, and it was a great program. And what I wanted to maybe bring attention to is that data centers in Arizona it's a huge business, and based on everything that we've talked about, Doug, and what you've done in terms of the semiconductor industry, I think there's going to be a confluence of data centers and what we're doing in chips in Arizona, and those are going to meet. And I wanted just to get a kind of an open forum on that, on how we can start to put those two together.
Yeah, AI drives it. It drives the semiconductor production, and it drives a place to run the data, right?
And the data centers in Arizona are just only going to expand more and more and more and more. It's the safest place for them, and it's the most business friendly environment. I'd just like to hear other people if they have any experience with the data center aspect of it, and then the chips.
Actually, the ones of you you were in the call earlier where there was discussion of data centers, and it basically was that recently a Texas town stopped the development of a data center because of the concern about the power usage and water usage. And it really doesn't have usually a lot of jobs at the site itself, right? So you could build a case that it's, the NIMBY case, not in my backyard kind of idea. So I'm not sure every town feels that way.
I believe that
Yeah,
Tucson was a similar initiative a few weeks ago. I think they rejected. There was some discussion
You're right.
around it. Yeah.
Tucson did have something. It might, yeah, you're right. Something in
yeah.
Southern California or Southern Arizona.
And Doug, one thing too that's interesting about this, the idea of water usage and so forth, and one of our utilities, great utilities, Global Water Resources in Arizona, that all this water is not wasted; it's reused. So it's continually recycled. So you're not wasting water; you're using it. And I think that's a story that's not being told in the right way. And maybe Global Chamber can help message that a little bit better in terms of we're not like throwing water out the door; it's being recycled, reused, and so forth.
It's sort of like when housing takes over a citrus farm and what's happened in Arizona, the water usage goes way down. But by the way, I think I made an error by not allowing you to introduce yourself. Also, Susan, you talked, and you should introduce yourself and maybe who you'd like to meet, ideally, and Dave. Same deal, and Alma. I don't think I let you do that either. So sorry, I got too engrossed in the topic and forgot to allow you to say hi. And Tim, you're involved in all sorts of really fun things, including Poland. Congratulations
Poland.
on that. Who would you like to meet, and how can we help you right now?
Oh, I appreciate that, Doug. So Tim Randall, I have a consulting firm. I do a lot of business in Arizona, California, and as Doug mentioned, our firm really connects Poland and Central Eastern European companies to the West Coast. As I always say, I couldn't find Poland on a map 2 years ago, and now I can speak some of the language. So it's really fun. But Arizona is very near and dear to my heart, and I always want to try to expand any business that we're doing there, and help anyone who wants to expand operations in Arizona.
Definitely a Diamondbacks fan as well. So, Susan, could you introduce yourself too? And is there anything other than it's time to sleep because of jet lag that we can provide or help with you? We're obviously not helping you here by keeping you up right now. So Susan's on mute. Before she jumps on, Susan ran the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations for almost 20 years. And so she basically built that. And when I think about people, actually for some reason it sticks in my head, Donald Rumsfeld, she had speak at PCFR. I remember meeting him. The most impressive person, though, actually, what was that act that is? I'll skip that because I forget the name of that one, but I thought was very entertaining. So many years of entertaining international activities. The most impressive for me still was Bobby Inman.
Oh,
And
he's amazing.
he is like the guy who had the CIA, right?
Yeah,
And he had other jobs,
the
but when he
Navy
got up in
SEAL.
front of that PCFR room, and I even remember exactly how it started. He said, well, where should we start in the world? Let's talk about Somalia. Or somebody said that. And so he starts talking about the past and the current and what's going on and what they're planning for the future. And then I started to digest that one country and multiplied it by 200 countries and how smart this guy was. Is he like one of the smartest people you've ever met?
Totally. And he can go around the world and it's not incidental information. It's
Amazing.
very substantive targeted. So what are their key issues? What are their challenges now? What implications are there with our relationship? He's an amazing man. And you
Will
see,
we, will we ever have government leaders in the United States like Bobby Inman again?
I know. He was amazing. He headed up Symantec. I don't know if you remember that initiative. It was an initiative, a public-private sector partnership to really launch a technology initiative, and it was extremely successful. He was a Navy anyway. He was a wonderful man, and that was a real privilege to do that because of the people that we had the opportunity to meet, and not only meet but really get to know. And
There was another thing about what you created with PCFR. I remember at some point I was invited to the spy table. And so what I learned then was that there's a lot of ex-CIA people who retired in this Phoenix Valley for the warmth, and they were members of PCFR because of Susan. And so all of this knowledge and intelligence, within PCFR, I don't know if it's still the same as it was before, but you had so many amazing connections through that.
oh, it was so much fun. Well, they breed more, so when you're the master of it, I mean, that's what the chamber is an explosion of connections that make a difference.
For sure. But is
So
there anything that we can do to help?
the only thing, I just love the information. I do want to mention I worked in Poland when it was privatizing, uh, and had a number of clients there, and I helped in marketing. And when in the early days, the doctors were the taxi drivers, the stores all had one of everything, and the business cards often didn't have addresses or phone numbers or contact information. It was so fundamental. It was a really
That's
remarkable experience. I was there for several months, which was so interesting.
which part of Poland were you?
All over.
Okay.
Yeah, Gdańsk and Poznan and yeah, it's really fascinating.
Very cool. Yeah, my great grandparents were from
Hey,
outside. So, and Tim, have you been to Poland very much? Oh, Tim might have dropped off. Was that you, Mike?
hi. I know I haven't been to Poland. I wanted to say I've been involved in the tariff thing, and I have to run back to some other calls, but I had two comments on the tariffs at some moment. If you guys wanted to hear it, I've been talking to tariff firms and experts and have a couple of comments that might be relevant for the group, and if anybody is interested.
We'd love to hear from you. Tim, you want to comment, and then we'll go to
Oh
Mike.
yeah, no, I've been to Poland multiple times, and actually going back in April, and so we've got some really great things working there, and it's such a vibrant, dynamic economy that really no one knows about. It's now $1 trillion economy,
It's a
sixth
wonderful
largest,
story.
the fifth largest in the EU. Um, we're waiting to see if Poland's going to adopt the euro. They currently don't have it. which based on different opinions, the zloty is really a cost consideration that's huge for Poland. And it's a very, very stable currency. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I've been all over Poland, and it's a fantastic country.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Mike and Caitlin, if you're there, I would love to hear kind of what's happening here. The decision's only a couple hours old, right? What are you seeing so far? It's going to take years for this to work through.
I just wanted to say, I talked to Deborah at STR, who is my outside trade expert along, after Melissa Proctor, she's retiring. But the issue is there'll be a new tariff later today of 10% that will replace some of the higher ones that other people. So if you had one client of mine has a 25% in Honduras, and that's going to probably drop from 25% down to 10%. There's mass pandemonium at the border today until custom gives them instructions, but expecting that 10% will drop and then customs will adjust on incoming. But the other question is, people have asked, can a client file for reimbursement for tariffs paid and that are now struck down as unconstitutional? The answer is yes, probably, but they've been advising clients to file for administrative petitions for reimbursement. Those have all been held at bay until this ruling today. We expect that the administration is going to deny those requests for reimbursement, and then those will be appealed, etc. However, you do have a 2-year statute of limitations to seek from today to file for your damages for tariffs that you paid inbound into the U.S. So it may be worth waiting a few days. If you need help, I've got direct lines with outside trade tariff counsel that I work on, that this is all they do. And I work with them almost every week on for trade issues for lots of our attorneys across the firm. I just want to say, if you have a question you need it, I can get you to the right person.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. Any questions for Mike or anybody else that's spoken so far? And Caitlin, you're not coming off camera, so you may not be able to talk right now. But when you can. Oh, there you are. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just perennially camera off.
Oh, no worries. Just, I thought you didn't know. So Caitlin is with Main Freight, and I'll bet you there's a few things going on in your office today.
Yes, it has been a busy morning, and
Yeah.
the news came out. I'm a customs broker, everybody, so I've been having conversations with customers since the tariffs were implemented, and every week there's been different trade agreements that Trump's been announcing. So it has been busy this morning. We've been watching the news. To follow up with what Michael mentioned, it's the tariff 122. So you probably have all heard of the Section 301, which was during the first Trump tariff for intellectual property protections. Then there is Section 232, steel, aluminum. Now Trump has said that he will go forward with the Section 122, what he is legally allowed to do. And that is the law that allows him to implement an increase of up to 15% for no more than 150 days. So he announced in a press release that it would be 10% was where his head was at, and that'll probably be implemented, I'm guessing, today. And
That's across the board, I think, right?
That would be across the board. Or they could do carve-outs.
Okay. Got it.
Just like we have for steel and aluminum and copper, there's carve-outs for the Section 232. So and also Section 301. There's always going to be exceptions based on who is also strongest at lobbying in the industry. They all have exceptions as well at times. So, and then the Section 301 is that there's different tranches. There's the 7.5, the 15%, the 25%. Section 122 is the blanket 10% that he's announced so far. But what we are telling customers is that until there's a customs message that goes out instructing brokers how to do the refiling based on the Supreme Court decision, it's not necessarily business as usual, but it's putting off clearances that aren't urgently needed to be done today. So if we have an air freight shipment that's coming in and it's going to be hitting, $1,000 of storage every day, that can get cleared. But we might have to go back and revisit that entry maybe in 5 days when customs does have an answer for us, and then resubmit with the reduction for the customers, because those storage costs will remain. Demurrage will remain, detention will remain at ocean ports as well. So a lot of you have noticed, Trump would make an announcement on Truth Social, and then that would just be an announcement, but not necessarily presidential policy, until customs would follow up with a day or two later a CSMS message. So that CSMS hasn't come through yet. So until we have that has more guidance on what customs is looking at for their implementation of this new rule, we are still clearing, just making sure that the most urgent shipments are being cleared and ticking a box so that we revisit them.
Caitlin, if you wouldn't mind shooting me or Doug connecting us, I'm getting, I'm getting slammed with lots of people asking questions. I may need you today, Caitlin. I might need your help today, so would appreciate it. And I'm gonna have to run back to those messes. So have a great day, everyone.
You bet.
There's a lot. Hi, Michael, I'll send you an email. STR Trade is also a company that we monitor all of their press releases for. So they are very good at getting those announcements out quickly. So in terms of the refunds, we will continue to watch them. There has been some news that maybe it's only companies that are able to get a refund that necessarily can prove that they accepted or absorbed all of those losses from the tariffs. And if it filtered down to a toy maker who then sold, increased their prices to Walmart, and then now it's shared amongst, 200,000 buyers of a certain toy that got sold out, those are cases that we'll still have to watch how they're going to be implemented. Because how do you recoup? Does that refund just go to the toy maker? How do you get it to the average American consumer? So a lot of questions to go through.
Got it. Any questions for Caitlin? Anita Rodal leads the Export Import Forum that we do every month. And next Thursday, Dr. Sarita Jackson is your guest. And undoubtedly, this will be coming up, don't you think?
To the extent that it has anything to do with exporting services, absolutely. But I have honestly been trying to stay away from tariffs. It was the subject of at least 50% of all my EIFs last year. And but I was going to say, Jen Diaz, who is a member of Global Chamber, she's a trade attorney, and she puts out amazing information on the refund process and everything else. So find her.
Yeah.
She's doing a really good job of keeping people updated from a legal perspective.
Jen, months ago was saying file now for the refund, right? Because it was kind of clear that it probably might not go through. And so she was really vocal about it the last month or two. So her clients are, I think, prepared. Jen D, definitely a superstar. I think I reposted something into the LinkedIn group from Jen, maybe not, because she hadn't posted anything today. I actually looked at her page a couple hours ago after the news came out. I was like, I wonder if she's saying anything, but she's probably overwhelmed.
She's probably writing a full discourse on it. That takes a little time. So I would bet money that she'll post something before the end of the day for sure.
Yeah, well, another member of ours, Cargo Trends, did post something like right away. So that is in the Global Chamber area, but Jen hadn't posted anything as of an hour ago. So, anything, Anita, that you would like to share, or Kate? Did Caitlin disappear? Oh, there you are, Caitlin. Was there anything else, Caitlin, that you wanted to share? Sorry about that.
No, not necessarily, but because the rates have dropped, because essentially it's almost like a discount is the way some people might view this until there's the 10%, and then there's an increase. We're coming off a Chinese New Year. Everybody's back in the office in Asia, starting mostly Monday. So it'll be really interesting to see where freight rates will go as a result of this. If there is a rush for people to suddenly start to ship or air freight cargo because they see a reduction in terms of the duties that they're paying, that might cause an increase in global freight rates as a result of that. Just the way that it increased through the summer last year when there was the moratorium of like 2 months on the tariffs that happened, we could see that again. And then coming off of Lunar New Year at the same time, it'll be interesting, but just be patient, work through it. We're all getting news at the same time, given technology nowadays, but it's something for people to factor in that there could be a backlog now in freight in some areas potentially, now that we're all waking up to this possible increase in demand now.
Great observation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for jumping in and sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Anita, how about you? Anything else that you would like to share? You're amazing.
Thank you. And I know you don't sleep because I look at the timestamp when emails come in. It's like, okay, so there's an hour difference now. I think you're still in Phoenix at the moment. Are you still in Arizona?
I'm back and forth.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So even allowing for that, I'm like, oh my God, because I'm up that late also. I'm like, geez, somebody else is up as late as I am. Um, um, I'll just give you my really quick, 45-second elevator pitch. For anybody that doesn't know me, I know almost everybody. And I've actually had the opportunity to meet Alma in person. She came here. We met up for breakfast. So
Wow.
Doug and Alma are the only two people I've ever met in person, except for people that I already knew, like Elizabeth and Sarita. So have to change that, and the LA people. But anyways, hello to everybody. I'm Anita Rodal, president of SBPI Services. So why do you hire a coach in sports? It's not to teach you how to play the game. It's to help you play it better. And I do the same thing for people who want to improve their English. I put my degree in linguistics to very good use, offering private pronunciation coaching to help foreign business professionals, actors, and diplomats speak region neutral American English. I work via Zoom so they can be anywhere in the world. Meanwhile, SBPI Services represents several currency exchange companies, helping global enterprises lower their rates and the risks of the fluctuation of those rates in their cross-border payments. Within the US, we broker business and equipment loans. And by the way, if you or your sales team needs help with your elevator pitches, please visit aboutyourelevatorpitch.com, excuse me, where you'll find information about my self-help workbook and corporate webinars. Anita Rodal, SBPI Services. I'm losing my voice. Oh my God.
What a day. What a day. Thanks for sharing. And Alma, so you spent some time in Southern California, or was this in Arizona that Anita went to?
No, my husband travels for work very often, and so I sometimes go along with him. And but this was last year that he had to go to California, and he had a meeting during the week. So I'm like, I'm going to call Anita and see if she's available. So we just met for breakfast while my husband was in a meeting, and so it was great to meet her. And she has to come to one of our events soon.
Who else would like to share? We only have about 10 minutes left. And so what else should we cover? There's a lot going on. I see Mary in the call, and Mary was a key part of our group. And Bernd, you have some really great things going on.
Yeah, 2 minutes, if I may. So Bernd Heber with World Strengths Promotion here in Phoenix, Arizona. Music industry, there will be a big announcement coming out next week across the Global Chamber. We're starting the music industry group globally. So I'm very happy and proud of that. Thank you, Doug, for the support. But I would like to point to in the chat, I put a link or some information about a very special event. If you're in Arizona, in the valley, there's a restaurant called the Treffpunkt in Scottsdale. That's the only place pretty much in the valley where you get really good German food, beer, and can hang out with the German community, with the European community. But this Sunday, there will be a very special event, which I'm hosting with the Honorary Consul of Germany here in Arizona, Caroline Gay, and it's going to be a German trivia night. And so we will ask a lot of questions. You can win prizes donated by the embassy in DC. So if you want to hang out with the Germans this Sunday, 6 o'clock, I'm happy to see you. And then, Alma, maybe next time when you come to visit Arizona, then we'll take you to the Treffpunkt as well.
Sounds great. Rutherford, Pascal, have you been to the Treffpunkt?
No, I can say I have not. I've never even heard of it. So I'm looking right now
Check it out. It's
at
a great place.
at
I
this.
was there last night. I'll take you there, Rutherford.
Oh, you
We had a we had
will.
a we had a Luxembourgish event there last night. The
Oh, beautiful.
Luxembourg General Council's here, so I was there.
So
That's where
so
I
give
bought.
me, is it 4 star, 5 star, 10 star? What is
Yeah,
it?
and,
And
and that's where I bought Burns' book too.
oh, thank you, Dave.
Wow.
Rutherford,
uh,
there's no stars per se, but it's really good food. You can
Okay.
it's great food.
small place, but it's really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm always willing to try something new. So
Yeah.
count me in. Count me in, Dave.
Okay.
So just quickly, I'm Rutherford Pascal. I'm a leadership consultant, and what I do is I empower organizations to stop preventable talent loss and convert leaders into performance multipliers. That's what I do, and I do it with a proprietary system that I've developed. So that's the general thing that I do. I think about regrettable talent loss. The simple word for that is retention, right? So if there's any issues with people losing great people, I'm the person you want to think about talking to. I I can do it in any field. I spent 35 years in pharmaceuticals, three big Fortune 100 pharmaceutical companies. But I'm working with lawyers and pharmaceutical companies are the two areas I'm kind of focused in right now. That would be it. So I'm looking for anybody that has issues, have seen issues, no issues, have friends that have issues with losing talented people out of their organization for whatever reason. Even AI, Doug, if they're losing it because of AI, I can talk to them.
That's great. That's great to know. That's super. Yeah, Rutherford has a corporate career in big pharma, so he comes from that. So he's got that, that professionalism and integrity and approach that's so powerful. He's gotten inspired by John Maxwell and then
Yep.
used that to create this unique process. So congratulations on your amazingness. He also leads our leadership in these epic times and the dynamics of what's going on and how to be a leader and have more impact. So thank you for doing that as well.
I will say Doug has read more John Maxwell books in 1 year than I think anybody else I know. Even the 100, actually 150,000 Maxwell coaches, I don't think I've read as many books as he has in 1 year for John Maxwell. So kudos to you.
Thank goodness for the Libby app. I tell you, that's
Yeah.
that's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
That's why why, as I was mentioning earlier, the Why We Sleep, that book is just so amazing. The latest one. Who's left? Michelle, are you being shy, or Mary, are you not available? We'd love to hear from you and if not, we'll kind of close things up.
Hi, everyone. No, my apologies. I was a little bit late in joining in. Updates. Well, I'm very, very happy about the news with the tariffs since, we're in a global economy and being a border state. So I'm hoping that would change a lot of things for many, many companies and, encourage more trade instead of less, as we've been seeing, because we all get impacted by that. So that's all I have to say. And thank you so much. I learn a lot every time I join this conversations, and it's an honor to be here today.
So many different people, maybe a couple dozen at least, I've seen post pictures of the Semiconductor Summit. The most interesting pictures were yours.
I'm afraid to ask why they were the most interesting pictures, but they were fun. It was a great experience, and like I put on my post, it was an eye opening. I've been speaking about the event with so many clients and potential clients, just of the opportunity that we have here in Arizona. Like I said, there also location, 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 as they say in real estate, right? We're in the right place at the right time for growth and generating a lot of more collaboration. So just trying to find out ways that I can be part of that and support, those that same growth. But like I mentioned, across the board, it is an honor to be part of the Global Chamber, learning from so many people like yourself and having amazing mentors like yourself, Doug. So I'm sure this is going to echo in the rest of the group, that we cannot be more thankful and show our gratitude for all you do for us and the way you're leading this chapter.
Belly button of the semiconductor industry, which these days means the belly button of the world. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Thank you for the opportunity to participate.
Thank you. And thank you for your kind words. I think that might do it, folks. Anything else burning out there that we should know before we head out into the weekend?
I hope everybody can attend the Export Import Forum next Thursday at noon Pacific time, where I am interviewing Sarita Jackson, and we're going to be talking about exporting your expertise and things to know. Might get into things like taxes in other countries on services, but we're going to avoid the tariff word.
Great. No, that great topic, especially for many members of the Global Chamber. Thank you all for being so supportive of this initiative, which is all about global thinking is so important, and more important than ever these days. And when we watch people who don't have global thinking or have things on their mind that are not additive and not moving us collectively forward, it makes it more important that we do our part to keep the world moving forward, and being global is part of that. So thank you all for being that way, and let's continue to move forward. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Friday.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye. Ciao, Alma.
Bye, Anita.